Alright, so this is probably going to come to a surprise to some people out there, but if any of you have owned a first generation PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3, like me, you may have encountered the same exact problems, or at least heard about them in some kind of facet or form, whether it was in a game magazine, a friend, or online. I've owned all of them, and with each fucking console, with each first generation PlayStation model, they've all crapped out on me. And ironically, the PSP is also guilty of that. If you remember when the PSP first came out, the fat PSPs actually had a problem with dead pixels. That's something, I don't know if you can even look it up right now, but yeah. They had dead pixel problems, and it was really fucking annoying because people's screens would be all fucked up while they're playing the game. So yeah, that's not exactly the best thing in the world. The first generation PlayStation 1 would quit reading discs. Also, the vents on the system didn't allow for much air to, go through the system, so it could overheat. And eventually some people had to do tricks with it, like keep the system on its side or fucking like pry open the fucking sides of it, like where it's ridged and shit. Yeah, that's not something I want to do with my game console. It just sounds awful. The first generation PlayStation 2, I mean, everybody knows that the fat PS2s, they'd quit reading like the PS2 games that were like blue on the bottom, how they originally came out. And then some of them would just quit reading PS1 games, or they'd quit reading DVDs, or they'd just fucking die altogether and they wouldn't do anything. Then they made the PS2 Slim, which had that problem with the fucking power cords. Then the PS3, which I actually took back my PS3 to get another one. I had the backwards compatible one, I actually made a video about that. And as much as I love that system, I didn't get the yellow light of death or anything. I actually had a worse fucking problem with it. It stopped reading anything that was a Blu-ray, whether it was the movies or the PS3 games. So I could put in DVDs, PS2 games, PS1 games, and all the shit that I downloaded would play without a fucking problem. But anything that was a Blu-ray, all the PS3 games, it would not fucking play. And I'm just like, you'd be fucking kidding me. It's not a fucking cheap system to replace. So, yeah, I've noticed that all their first generation consoles and their handheld are all like little wimpy ladies. They cannot fucking like stand the test of time. It's like, how the fuck can you test this fucking thing and not notice these fucking problems are gonna happen? Like the first generation PS3, I found out after doing tons of fucking research that the little laser, like the Blu-ray laser on it, is pretty much a piece of shit. Because they didn't have like perfect technology figured out and all that other shit. I'm like, dude, really? Really? You put out this expensive fucking console with like all this fucking hardware to back it, making it super fucking great. And then when the system first came out, there was people scrambling to get it. They were paying like almost $1,000 just to get a fucking PS3, like they were when PS2 came out. Yeah, if I paid $1,000 for anything, and it died within any amount of time, I don't give a fuck if it was 40 fucking years. If it dies and it's just a game console, no. I'm gonna hang somebody by their own fucking balls from the fucking, like, big, tall office building that they're in. I'm going to kick them in their fucking teeth and then throw their asses off, because that is the only way that I could possibly respond to losing $1,000 on my game console. Then I have a whole ton of games for it, so I'd rather not, be in the middle of, I don't know, in the middle of 3D Dot Heroes, Game Heroes, and, just doesn't work anymore. Fuck you. I'm just like, no, don't do that. Same thing happened. I was on a big RPG fix whenever I had my PS1. It died, so I had to get another one. And if you remember, like, all the PlayStations, they have tons of versions, which is, to me, kind of ridiculous. The PSP, same thing. The PS2, same fucking thing. The PS3, again, same thing. So it just makes me wonder, like, are they aware that they're having these problems? Because there isn't major fixes in between most of them. It's like, so you're putting out a faulty system, finding out the problems later on. Shouldn't you test all this shit beforehand so that you don't have to do that? And the people that spent all that money to buy your product aren't getting fucking raped in the ass, through their wallet? Of course not. Why do that? And, I don't even need to get started on other companies like Microsoft with the 360. Yeah, hopefully the new one is actually a little bit better than that. So yeah, that's something I just don't get. Is why put out that many consoles with that many problems? I'm mostly like attacking Sony for it because every single one of their consoles has done that. Microsoft has put out two, which admittedly both of those have been fucked up. So yeah, they're not doing so well. They're 2 for 2. Sony is 4 for 4. So yeah. I'm kind of glad Nintendo doesn't have a similar problem, with the exception of the Virtual Boy, because technically I think that could make me blind at some point. But I don't know too many people who are like, you know, going into the hospital like, fuck man, I can't fucking see. And the doctor's like, well, what's wrong? I've been fucking playing Virtual Boy all day. And he's just like, what the fuck is a Virtual Boy? And he's just like, wait, you don't know what a virtual... You fucking noob! You know, and then the argue just fucking goes at that a half-blind fucking fanboy is attacking a doctor, and boy, that would make a lot of headlines. It'd be funny too, especially for Virtual Boy. But yeah, if you're gonna make a fucking console, guys, you know, Microsoft, Sony, both of you, if you're gonna make a console, make sure that you test it a whole bunch. I know that you have groups of people that are supposed to do shit like that to make sure that it doesn't just randomly fuck up or catch on fire or explode or stop working or rape your fucking grandmother in her sleep or, I don't know, stuff the cat into a fucking blender. Like, my console shouldn't do any of these fucked up things. It should never ever do that. I pay a lot of money for it. I want it to work so I can play my game, so I can be a nerd, so I can make these videos, so I can talk about it, so I can be happy. Or I can actually be angry like I am right now because you're a bunch of cocksucking motherfucks. Breathe. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about that is, yeah, stop making fucked up systems because there's a whole lot more of us gamers than there are of, you know, all of you fucking important execs. So, yeah. We could definitely jump you and beat the shit out of you. Hail gamers.